It was a moonlit night in Mumbai, India. The air was thick with mystery, and the only sounds that you could hear were the rustling of leaves and voices far, far in the distance. In the heart of this village, two souls were about to embark on a beautiful journey of love and commitment. It was time for their wedding. The bride, decked in rich cultural attire, stood beside her groom, both apprehensive about the steps that lie ahead. They were waiting for the arrival of a sacred community, the Hijra community. In a society where gender is confined to either male or female, Hijras represent ideas that challenge the norms. Hijras are transgender and genetically intersex South Asians. Often, they are men who wear saris, which is a traditional Indian woman's garment, and put on makeup, jewelry, and other feminine items. The Hijras arrived at the doorsteps of our bride and groom, radiating a beautiful aura that encompassed a feeling of celebration, but also fear. They showered the couple with flower petals and their blessings, a traditional ritual before Hindu weddings. This particular couple, dear to my heart, happens to be none other than my parents. Yet the significance of the Hijra extends far beyond this immediate family connection. It was here when I realized the absolute dichotomy of their existence. They are revered for their blessings and called upon, yet they are shunned from society and often cannot get real jobs. To this day, many members of the community rely on begging and blessing newlyweds for any sustainable source of income. Why are they so isolated, you may ask? The answer is cultural stigma. Stigma is a mark of disgrace, or a topic that people just refuse to take the time to understand. Cultural stigma stems from the intersection of religious teachings, colonial hierarchies, and the need to uphold one's family reputation. Imagine, if you will, a heavy curtain that veils the truth and isolates those who dare to step out of line. This is stigma. But here's the truth. Stigma thrives in the absence of understanding and empathy. It festers when we choose to remain in ignorance, allowing stereotypes and misinformation to take root. And so our journey begins with the quest of understanding. To peel back the layers of stigma, we must step into the shoes of those who experience it. Growing up in a South Asian household, I've witnessed the subtle but powerful ways in which stigma has permeated our lives. It whispered in the shadows that fairer skin was more desirable, that seeking therapy is a sign of weakness, and that certain aspects of our identities must remain hidden to protect our families. These whispers, these unspoken beliefs, shape the lives we live and the choices we make. Now, me personally, I'm an expert instigator. I don't know if it comes from being a teenage girl or just an entitled younger sibling, but I am quick to give my opinion and critique the world around me. So I reached out to numerous psychologists, interracial relationship experts, members of the LGBTQ community to discuss the effects of stigma and how we as a society can break it. I recorded podcasts with them and posted them on Spotify under the name Breaking Taboos to help teens like me feel heard and start the conversation about breaking stigma. With my podcast, I've been able to give thousands of people an outlet to understand that they are not alone. One particular interview I did with a woman from the Desi Help Hotline for LGBTQ members has a story that will always stick out to me. In the heart of a bustling city, she harbored a huge secret, her romantic love with her girl best friend. When she finally came out to her traditional family, their rejection was swift and cruel, forcing her to leave her childhood home. It took years to finally reconnect. Her story mirrors that of thousands of ethnic boys and girls grappling with the heartbreak instilled through generational stigma. Consider another lesser-known example from my podcast with Dr. Amlan Roy Chowdhury, a member of the Indian Developmental Foundation. He shared a story about a young girl in Nepal who's forced to leave her home every time she menstruates, a common practice in a lot of cultures known as chaupadi, a huge stigma that comes from the lack of understanding. Stigma is also prevalent in the realm of mental health. Imagine the courage it takes for someone to say, I'm struggling and I need to go to therapy. Or even drug addiction. It's time we realize that it is an illness, not a religious failing. Yet when society responds with skepticism and dismissive remarks, it's as if we've slammed the door shut on their journeys towards healing. So how do we begin the transformation towards a stigma-free world? We must peel back the heavy curtain and unveil our shared humanity. We must create conversations that pierce the silence, conversations that challenge the status quo. It starts with us accepting change, with our hearts open and our voices resolute. But let us remember, this transformation is not about discarding our heritage. It's about evolving it for generations to come. Now, my friends, I know breaking stigma is not an easy task, one that may never fully be achieved. But it is imperative that we step into the shoes of those who face stigma's heavy chains. So please join me as champions of change, united in our quest to shatter shame and stigma.